I refuse to tell my family I got married because they don't care about me.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Trigger warning, this does have mentions of emotional abuse. So, for context, my mom, a 49 female, and I have had a turbulent relationship that hit rock bottom when I moved out in 2022 with my now fiance, 24 male, and his parents. My mom had been putting increasing strain on our relationship while refusing to acknowledge her controlling behavior. By the way, this comes from JRose98 on the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. My mom's conservative Christian values shaped every rule in our house, despite her own contradictory lifestyle. She and my dad have been separated for over 20 years without divorcing, and she's lived with her boyfriend for 16 years. Yet she judges other women for not living godly lifestyles, tells her church that she's married to her boyfriend, and conveniently omits unflattering details from her life story. Her boyfriend remained passive throughout my upbringing, simply agreeing with whatever she decided. I was never a troublemaker, didn't drink, smoke, party, or date until college because I had been told date to marry. I was quiet and obedient, constantly seeking her approval. The pushback didn't start until college when I began finding my own identity. My fiance and I started dating at 21. My mom implemented exhausting restrictions. 10 p.m. curfew when we left the house. No unscheduled activities. All dates required pre-approval with specific plans. When he visited, we couldn't cuddle, sit close on the couch, leave room for Jesus, lean on each other, or be alone for too long. No intimate conversations. All activities had to be in public spaces. These rules constantly shifted at her whim, but we had no say in negotiating them. When she felt that we were getting too close too fast, the punishment was swift. My mom's tactics included excluding me from family outings, telling everyone to get ready for dinner while deliberately not telling me until they were leaving, buying matching jewelry for my sisters and giving it to them in front of me, and launching into rants about how I was disrespecting and dishonoring her. She threatened to punt me out, knowing that I was a full-time student without a car or job, claimed that I needed to set a good example for my younger siblings, and instead she had to approve my future husband because parents give the child away at weddings. She regularly told me my fiance wasn't a true Christian and that what we felt was lust, not love, even after 10 months of dating without physical intimacy. The inconsistency was maddening. My anxiety skyrocketed as I constantly worried about triggering her anger. Nothing felt good enough. Meanwhile, my fiance respected all her rules, remained kind to her, and even tried mediating our arguments. Conversations that helped temporarily before she inevitably reverted to her controlling behavior. 2 months before our 1-year anniversary, I'd had enough. I secretly planned my escape, packing with a friend during an all-nighter. The next morning, my fiance and another friend waited outside while I had one final conversation with my mom. When I went to retrieve my social security card and birth certificate, my mom appeared. Okay. I explained my feelings about walking on eggshells, the constant anxiety, feeling unheard and belittled. Our relationship had become toxic and unhealthy. Her immediate response? Asking if I was pregnant and then accusing me of leaving just to have spicy sleep with my boyfriend.
Sounds very controlling.
Yeah.
Unhealthy. Also, being that she grew up in a very religious household, I think sometimes religion can grasp in a way that isn't so healthy, and
Yeah.
you're kind of being like, you're going to live this type of life.
She expressed disappointment and claimed that I was betraying her. I told her I didn't want this to be permanent. I wanted to rebuild our relationship after some space. But when I tried to take my documents, she declared them hers, hid them in her bedroom, and then left the house. Fortunately, I'd already grabbed my social security card. After explaining my decision to my siblings and loading my belongings, I saw my mom circling the block, talking on her phone, deliberately waiting for me to leave. My mom refused to see me for 8 months and barely responded to my texts. My siblings distanced themselves to avoid the drama, occasionally inviting me to things, but excluding my fiance. They constantly pressured me to apologize. Meanwhile, my mom told them that I'd left to have spicy sleep and play house, that I was abandoning God for selfish desires, and that my fiance was manipulating me. She made passive-aggressive Facebook posts asking for prayers for her breaking mom heart and posting about betrayal. Despite the emotional turmoil and literal nightmares, I achieved major milestones. Bought my first car, got engaged, graduated college with a human services degree, and landed a new job. My fiance's family provided incredible support. Well, congratulations for all that stuff. When my mom and I eventually reconnected after many emotional conversations where she seemed to take accountability and genuinely want to rebuild our relationship, I thought we'd reached an understanding. I was wrong. Oh no. The same behaviors resumed immediately. She continued telling me we need to hurry up and get married to be right with God. Told my siblings I'd done things the wrong way. blamed my fiance for manipulating me, and most frustratingly, was constantly late or absent from plans. My fiance's approach to time became another major issue. They would show up 30 minutes to over an hour late to every gathering I planned. When confronted, the response was always, "You know how our family is, life happens. At least we showed up eventually." Their mentality was that as long as they arrived eventually, no one should be upset. Meanwhile, I stress about even being 5 minutes late and always give advance notice if delays are unavoidable. This wasn't occasional, it was every single time. When my mom asked about birthday plans, I suggested dinner at a sushi restaurant. She confirmed attendance. I made 6 p.m. reservations and texted her the details. She responded with a thumbs up. At 5:50 p.m., my fiance and I arrived. At 6 p.m. reservation time, I received a text saying they were running extremely late. They hadn't even left their house over an hour away. So the excuse list began. Lost track of time, my sister debating whether to come, my niece refusing to nap. I expressed disappointment about the lack of earlier notice. She apologized, made a comment about being a disappointing mom, laughed, and said that she'd make it up to me, then asked if I still wanted them to come. I said no, they were over an hour away and it was past reservation time. She told me not to hate her, repeated her reasons, and said that we could try again another day. That's so ridiculous. My older sister, 27 female, texted later with the same excuse list. I explained that their no-shows made me feel unimportant and hurt, especially since I always show up on time for their events. She became defensive, insisting it wasn't personal and wasn't that big of a deal because life happens. When I explained this was part of a pattern that hurt because they weren't approaching the respect I showed their time, she continued dismissing my feelings. She said I was choosing to be offended and suggested that I should have let them come anyway, over an hour late. Then came, she was sorry that she couldn't be perfect like me and that I only have to worry about myself, and I don't understand because I don't have a kid yet. It's like the guilt tripping.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's not owning up to it, having all these excuses and being like, "Oh my God, I'm so terrible." And then the mom is like, "Oh, don't hate me." It's like,
Yeah.
dude, come on. I clarified I wasn't expecting perfection, just effort and genuine apologies without blame shifting. She accused me of seeking reasons to be mad and asked if this was really the hill I wanted to pass away on. When I held my ground, she said that I was set in wanting to be offended and would pray for God to help me be more understanding. Around midnight, she sent an accountability taking apology, but I questioned whether it was genuine or just telling me what she thought I wanted to hear. A month later, my mom invited me to Easter. I restated my hurt about the birthday situation. Her only response, "I have things to say, but feel it requires an in-person conversation." Another month passed before she sent a Facebook video about extending grace to parents. I responded that maybe if she brought accountability, I'd bring grace. When she asked what she needed to take accountability for, I asked what she wanted grace for. No response. A week later, I saw a video by the same creator about emotional manipulation. Finding it ironically relatable, I sent it to her. Her response was explosive. A long text accusing me of searching for reasons to be offended, refusing to accept apologies, being bitter, and denying any wrongdoing. She blamed me for the birthday dinner being last minute, said it was my fault they weren't there, brought up my moving out, called me a wayward child and a liar. I went no contact. A month later, she began sending "I love you" and "miss you" texts, crying voicemails. During this time, my fiance and I planned our elopement. His mom and sister would be witnesses, along with close friends. I feel guilty about not involving my family and sad imagining the day without them. After a month of no contact, I decided on one final meeting, driving over an hour to a taco place she chose. Surprisingly, she was on time. Unfortunately, that's where the positives ended.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my
Here we
gosh.
go.
I don't even want to read this part.
But she was on time.
She was on time. You can't blame her. She was on time.
Progress.
Yeah, man. This just sounds so incredibly exhausting.
Exhausting.
She started remorseful, apologizing about my birthday, but quickly shifted to listing reasons why she didn't come and insisting that I should have been more understanding. She claimed not to understand why I was upset or what she needed to change, feeling there was nothing to take accountability for. When she questioned why our relationship couldn't return to how it was before or how it had been toxic, I reluctantly provided examples after she insisted on specifics. When I mentioned being depressed growing up and her dismissing it, she asked how I could be depressed. I was never physically mistreated and my childhood was better than hers. As I explained contributing factors, she kept saying, "And is that all? That's it?" As if my reasons weren't valid enough. I eventually told her I was done explaining myself, only to be told my reasons weren't good enough or that she didn't remember the incident. She then rehashed how I'd betrayed her by leaving and only wanted to leave for a spicy sleep, claiming my fiance was all over me at her house. I laughed, pointing out how uncomfortable we were to even sit near each other under her rules. When my younger brother called needing pickup, she suggested another meeting before walking out without saying goodbye. I didn't invite my family to our elopement, and it was amazing. My older brother, 26 male, has been the exception, continuing to reach out and making genuine efforts to repair our relationship. He invited me to his wedding next month, and I've agreed, but requested not to sit near my mom. Part of me feels like I'm people-pleasing by attending his wedding when he wasn't interested in mine, but I appreciate that he thought to include me. It's difficult navigating wanting closeness with siblings while their actions push me further away. I continue having second thoughts about excluding my family from my wedding, fearing I may regret not involving them. But I also recognize that protecting my mental health sometimes means making difficult choices that others won't understand. Question remains, am I being too much of a people pleaser with my brother? And was I right to prioritize my well-being over family expectations? What I've learned is that you can't force people to respect your boundaries, value your time, or take accountability for their actions. You can only control your response and decide what treatment you're willing to accept. So, would I be the a-hole if I went no contact and did not invite my family to my small wedding/elopement ceremony or tell them when I am married? Also, am I people-pleasing too much when it comes to my brother and his wedding? And there is an update. Updates. I didn't invite my family or tell them about my elopement, and it turned out amazing. I'm so excited to be married. I recently posted some pictures on social media with an announcement. My mom hasn't reached out, but my older sister has. She sent me this text. Congratulations on getting married. I wish my husband, your niece, and I could have been there and a part of that moment. I've been praying and talking to God and seeking him and really trying to figure out ways to talk to you or bring up a conversation. How it was left before was messy, and I feel like life is too short to hold on to who should make the first move. I was giving you the space I felt like you wanted, but seeing your post kind of broke me a little. I always dreamt of helping you on the days leading up to your wedding and your day, things I would do, and I just feel that that's a moment that I'll never get back. I know you never planned on inviting all of us. I saw your friend there in the photos and it just put it in perspective for me. Like she's taking the place of me in a way. I don't know. It's probably not true, but I just have this sinking feeling. I would really like to move forward on building back a relationship as sisters again. I feel like you're missing milestones your niece is taking, and I don't want a rift between our families. If you will give me the chance to either meet up with you and OP's older brother outside or with you and another brother here at the house or yours, I don't mind. But somewhere we can all be on the same page mentally and spiritually and start rebuilding our relationship and positively making strides. My husband and I are moving next year for good. I don't want to miss an opportunity. We could rebuild a relationship now, or at least try while we are all here in the same state. Please let me know your thoughts and mindset on this. And please, everyone watching, let me know what you think about us after you listen to full episodes and more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. I haven't replied and honestly don't know how to feel about it or if I should even respond at all or continue staying no contact. I've decided to attend my brother's wedding at the end of the month with my husband. I'm not planning to talk to or see the rest of my family before then. I imagine it could go both ways when my mom sees me, either pretending I don't exist or trying to get me to talk to her and making a whole show out of it. Either way, I don't regret my decision to go no contact with her for the foreseeable future, and I'm holding to that even if she confronts me at the wedding. I'll be going for my brother, not for any of them, focusing my energy on being happy for him soon to be wife. If you have any advice on how to navigate the situation with my older sister, please share. I know I need it, but finding a good, affordable therapist who takes my insurance has been challenging. Your responses have shown me how important this will be before I start a family of my own, so I can break that generational trauma going forward. And that is the end of that story. Man.
Woo, generational trauma.
You gotta love it.
I think so many of us deal with that.
Gotta love it, dude.
Yeah. I called out my cousin's behavior and she blocked me.
Oh, what?
When I, 38 female, was in first grade, I met my best friend Ann, 39 female, who was in second grade. My aunt and her uncle dated for several years during our childhood, so we grew up like cousins. We went to all family occasions together. Christmas, birthdays, family reunions, and family vacations for years, even after our aunt and uncle broke up, because we were bonded as family. We attended each other's family occasions right up until this altercation 6 months ago. By the way, this comes from _teatime on the r/charlottedobreyoutube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. Anne is an only child, So her family was eager for me and my two brothers to be in her life as pseudo cousins. Anne had, and still has, a big personality, whereas I was more of an introvert. She was fun, wild, and mischievous, helping me come out of my shell. However, anytime we disagreed, she would never admit fault and never apologize. Or if she did, she'd say, I'm sorry, but, which isn't a real apology. Usually I'd be the one to make amends even if I hadn't done anything wrong, or she'd just go home and we'd forget about the argument. This is where I theorize my people-pleasing tendencies started. I'm in recovery now as an adult with a backbone, and where her issues with forgiveness and conflict resolution began. This behavior of avoiding problems and refusing accountability has carried on throughout her whole life. I can think of 5 times where we had a fight, and instead of apologizing, she would just not talk to me days, weeks, months, one stint for years. But we always came back together as if nothing had happened. Anne and I lived together during part of college, which, while not without normal roommate struggles, was otherwise a rip-roaring good time. We went to bars together, dished about boys, went on road trips and music festivals. Pretty fantastic early 20s experience. When we moved apart, we kept in contact daily with 2-hour phone calls twice weekly. Distance never hurt our relationship because we were best friends. I know I'll have negative things to say about Anne. I'm pissed right now, so the negative is at the forefront. But she has been a great lifelong friend and family to me. There are things that no one knew other than the person who knew you in first grade would understand. Anne really understood me. She knew how and when to show up, be the shoulder to cry on, give honest advice, stand up for me, and was just a great cousin to grow up with. Anne was my petty, which, not gonna lie, is so effing fun. But it's also exhausting. If there was any problem in our lives with boys, friends, school, jobs, we'd devise petty revenge scenarios and absolutely pass away laughing. Was it healthy? No. Were we being cynical mean girls? Yes. Did it turn us into clever and hilarious women? Also, yes. This was fun while we were young, insecure girls who didn't know ourselves yet. But now that I'm an adult, the constant poop talking just wears on me. Anne's family had issues, but were generally good people. Most were heavy drinkers, but they paled in comparison to Anne's Aunt Sue, Uncle's ex-wife, who was a high-functioning heavy drinker. You'd go to parties with Sue and everything seemed fine. She was even the life of the party, but you'd hear stories about Sue hiding booze around the house or falling asleep mid-conversation. She wasn't violent, angry, or obvious with her drinking. She was a pro at hiding it, so red flags seemed kind of pink at the time. I was too young to pick up on the signs. Anne and Sue were incredibly close kindred spirits. Both fun, wild, adventurous, stunningly gorgeous women. But Anne took issue with Sue's drinking, making their relationship tumultuous. Anne was well aware of how bad Sue's drinking problem was, but was too young to help, leading to lots of fighting. In our early 20s, Sue passed away from heavy drinking.
Whoa.
Oh, that's terrible. That's sad.
Yikes.
The family was distraught but not surprised. Most knew it was a matter of when, not if. Anne's grief over losing her favorite aunt was immeasurable, and I'll never forget her anger over the way Aunt Sue left her. Years later, Anne met her now husband, Jack. But
do
Jack
we usually
Butt.
have like filters that go
Jack
in and
Butt.
replace
But I
it?
like what OP wrote there.
Yeah, that's fine.
We all thought he was awesome at first. Handsome, decent job, spoiled the crap out of Anne, which I now see was obvious love bombing. Only after they moved to South America, Anne's dream, did he lift the mask and we realized he was a self-absorbed person and a heavy drinker. By then, Anne felt stuck, so they got married and had a child together. I absolutely despise Jack and hate that I didn't see the red flags in time. Maybe I could have helped her out of this toxic relationship. I was texting with Anne before the holidays, chatting about Christmas plans for their kid. She detailed the long car ride to the nearest major shopping center, saying it was the first time in a while she and Jack were having fun and connecting. The drive was 2 hours, so they cracked open a couple of road sodas for the long drive. My reaction was definitely knee clown, but I was so icked out. I stopped her to clarify. Road sodas? Like you were drinking and driving? She confirmed and said it's not a big deal because everyone does it there. I got on her case, telling her it's downright shameful to drive under the influence, let alone with an open adult soda in hand. She got mad at me for not listening to her story and making it about something else, which felt like deflection to avoid talking about drinking and driving. She backpedaled, saying it was just one adult soda, but I know Jack well enough to know it's never just one. We ended that conversation abruptly and didn't talk for weeks. There were several times I wanted to contact her and make amends, but I couldn't bring myself to. I was grossed out by her cavalier attitude around driving and drinking, especially after everything she'd been through. I don't even think Aunt Sue would drink an adult soda in the car. I'm not reserved about drinking. I've done my share of partying, but this was flagrant disregard for safety. What if she crashed? What would happen to other drivers or the child she'd leave behind? Months went by while I considered my morality, boundaries, and expectations of people in my inner circle. If I let her back in, do I accept that she does this and keep quiet? Or do I have a long overdue talk about her relationship with alcohol? This wasn't the first time I'd had concerns about her drinking, but this was so over the line I couldn't stay quiet. She's never shied away from telling me when I'm effing up. Shouldn't I do the same for her? The holidays came and went, and then she finally texted, "You win. Let's talk this out." This was the first time she'd broken the silent treatment first, so I was surprised and felt like she might hear me out. When we got on the phone, I apologized for my knee clown reaction, told her I wasn't trying to judge, but was worried about her. I wanted to help if she wanted help. I was there to support, not shoot her down. I listed other unhealthy things I'd seen, like her husband's drinking, which she fully acknowledged he is a heavy drinker, and 2 occasions where she hid booze at family functions, so the family doesn't count my drink. She wasn't happy, but was still trying to listen. Then I asked her how she'd feel if she caught her child drinking behind the wheel. Maybe I'm the a-hole for bringing up her child, but her answer disturbed me. If my kid was blackout wasted behind the wheel, then yeah, obviously I'd be mad. But if it was just one drink while driving, then I don't really care. My jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe she was condoning drinking and driving for her child. I asked if she thought her family history with booze impacted her life and if she remembered how angry she was at Aunt Sue for never listening when confronted about drinking. This flipped a switch. She always gets enraged by any comparison to Aunt Sue. She was done listening and went on about how I don't have kids, so I wouldn't understand how hard parenting is, which sounded like she was excusing drinking and driving because of parenting struggles. She ended the call abruptly with no resolution. The next few weeks, Anne tried texting like old times, but I responded sparingly. I was still icked out and wasn't sure I knew this person anymore. She picked up on it, and it all came to a head on a Thursday night.
Uh-oh.
My husband and I were watching TV when she texted, asking if I could talk because she wanted to vent about a friend. It was 8:30 p.m. I knew she'd probably already had a couple glasses of wine, and I wasn't in the mood to hear her tipsy ramble about someone in her town. So I said I was busy watching TV with my husband, but could text. She declined, saying it was too much for text. Later, at 11:30 p.m., she sent a long text about how I let her down by not taking her call. I was alienating her, and TV night was apparently more important than her. I'd gone to bed and didn't see it until 6 a.m. I apologized for not realizing how important it was and said I could talk on my drive to work if she wanted. No response. 24 hours went by, no response. So I told her, not for nothing, but accusing me of alienating you and then leaving me on red for a full day is pretty hypocritical. Let's be respectful of each other's time and keep our expectations reasonable. Later that night around 8 p.m., again, I know she had wine by then, I got a long string of texts explaining she was angry at me for distancing myself and that I refuse to believe her when she says there's no drinking problem. She said she asked all her friends, drinking buddies, in South America if they think she has a problem. They said no. So why don't I believe her? Then she sent a list of things she's been doing that were good for her, like visiting friends and family and drinking green juice.
Like, yeah, I have a drinking problem of drinking too many healthy drinks. Oh my god.
So specific. And I love how it's green juice when there's so many other juices that are healthy for you too, but it's like we think green. But I get
It's
it.
green. I'm healthy.
It's green.
Look at all the plants that are in there.
It's 1 part celery, 2 parts tequila, a little bit of cayenne.
Right.
This was obvious deflection, and in retrospect, my response was passive aggressive. I know our phone call hurt you, and I'm sorry. I never want to hurt you, but I'm not sorry I told you how concerned I am. If you think green juice is turning things around for you, then I'm happy to hear it. I've only ever wanted you to be happy. As soon as the text sent, I knew I was effed. She lashed out, calling me condescending, patronizing, a self-absorbed person, a witch, a C word, and then asked me to be a mature adult. At this, I kind of just laughed. I told her she just called me a witch and a C word and I was the one who needed to be mature. I knew there was no turning this crazy train around, so I stopped responding to the slew of insults. I gave her 3 days to calm down, and then I called. No answer. Called again the next day. No answer. Called again the next day. No answer. I went to her social media and found I was blocked everywhere.
Oh.
I was shocked. She'd done the disappearing act plenty of times, but never blocked me. It hit me. Our friendship was really over this time. 6 months went by without speaking. I was heartbroken for a long time, wondering if I should have kept my mouth shut about her drinking habit. But with help from friends, family, and my therapist, I moved on. Friendship breakups are so much harder than regular breakups. especially when families are intertwined for so long. Fortunately, we won't run into each other at family functions anymore with her out of the country and our families in other states. It was a clean break, and with time, I learned to let her go. The lesson: not everyone is meant to be in your life forever, and even if things end terribly, it doesn't make the relationship less significant. By the way, if this felt significant for you, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Last week, I got a text from her. She sent family photos and said she wants to update me on her life and reconcile. I was shocked and went through a wide range of emotions. Excited to hear from her and see beautiful photos of her beautiful kid. Confused why she's hitting me up now. Angry that she thinks I've been waiting around for her call. Sad about lost time. Suspicious about whether she's capable of growth to change her bad habits, and whether she's actually changed. It's a lot of feelings. So people of Reddit, am I the a-hole for calling out my cousin for drinking and driving? And should I let her back into my life after she blocked me for 6 months? I've left her on red for a week, and if I'm going to respond at all, I need to do it soon. Otherwise, she'll probably just block me again to feel like she's in control of the situation. That is the end. We need advice here.
Dang.
What do you think?
I don't know. I would be curious, honestly.
I'd be a little curious
I'd
too.
be curious. I'd be mad, but I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
see what you got.
Because also, to not talk for 6 months obviously is huge.
Yeah.
But they were friends for what, like 20 years?
Yeah.
It
something
sounds
like
like.
that.
Yeah, I'd be open to it.
Yeah.